Holler if you hear me, and welcome to this week's edition of Ladies, 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 because we are back to the well of Hasan Piker being a pathetic, artificially propped up loser, an entitled man, a blood-hungry sociopath, a rich little loser boy who wants to go out of his way to convince you he is so smart, he is so wise, when he knows nothing about anything except for whatever media and suburbia and academia has entitled him to thinking his entire life, because neuroses, stupidity, and entitlement are the things that epitomize a man like Hasan Piker. And if you think he's not neurotic and entitled and vindictive and full of himself, then just take a good long look at how incessantly obsessed he is with bashing Asmongold, because Asmongold, well, for better or worse, or in this case rightfully so, is more popular on the Twitch platform than Hasan, despite the fact that Hasan Piker knows he's got, like with Vosh on YouTube and also Twitch, that he's got the powers that be in his pocket, that they will throw him birthday parties and sing to him, and yet at the same time, now Asmongold is a bigger streamer that gets more views, because, well, somebody has to, at least one person or two people on some social media platform compromised by left-wing dogma has to actually be popular on there through actually earning their audience, which is the exact opposite of what Hasan, Captain Socialism, has to say. But then again, losers like him who always prop up the cancer that is socialism are the kind of people that are always actually a bunch of know-nothing elitist pricks. The guy who fell into the money he has, the private planes he's able to fly around, the sports cars he's able to drive in, and yet will not shut up about socialism this, socialism that. If anything, the way he props up socialism when it is never successful in any capacity, in any way it is, except to get people killed and to have them subjected to the whims of an entitled loser tyrant, whether it be Jim Jones, or whether it be President Joe Biden or Obama, or whether it be what's been going on in Venezuela or Soviet Russia, or of course the National Socialists of Germany, despite what idiots like him who don't know what they're talking about always tell you, it always fails. And there's a reason that when you get somebody who comes from one of those hellholes, like say Cuba, and you bring them to the lowliest part of America, you take it to what in our eyes is the most degenerate, the most sad, the most pathetic little place where you go to people watch white trash, like say Walmart, for a Cuban guy that went viral naturally years ago on Twitter. That man is walking through a Walmart looking as if in his mind he is playing a whole new world from Aladdin. Oh, yes. And, well, Asmongold, a guy to whom politically really vacillates over the place, and at the very least, it's a matter of trying to do what he's going to do to get things that he actually says or thinks and feels, but politically, he's not some immediate flag waver in some way or another, and because he does occasionally say things that angers losers that live to prop up sweet baby stink, or someone like Hasan, who's never earned anything in his life and never has any talent, and idiots like the writers over at Slate putting up an article where they're calling him dangerous and sexy. No, by the very low standards of content creators, because he's not repulsively obese and bearded, but then pounds himself down with Ozempic while still wanting to force himself on women and children like a good old Movie Bob or good old Vosh. That does not make him sexy. No, he is not dangerous. He is a fucking sociopathic loser because of how much he loves to go and post clips of the thugs, the criminal scum of Islam known as Hamas, are going out of their way to drag bodies through the streets for everyone to see, and he is posting those clips and celebrating them and demanding that you go and spill the blood of Israel on his channel and all that, and never get any kind of repercussions for it, because, well, much like with how Vosh can go and show his lolicon and not get punished for it or even a slap on the wrist, but if you so much as mock him long enough, the 12 psychos with 300 little fake accounts are going to start trolling him on some social media platform or another. Are going to be trolling you on some social media platform or another. Because unlike Hasan or Vosh, if I make some kind of mistake, I'll actually go there and correct it. I won't continue to lie and deny about it, and then when you get caught in 4K being a liar and a pervert and a waste of space, it's going to lead to a lot of VTubers having a bunch of fresh new fodder to make fun of you. But then again, also those VTubers are putting their life and their career at risk between them getting deplatformed and also the most psychotic of the fans of the people they mock, like worthless waste of life Hasan, is going to go and make sure that his fans go out of their way to try and end those people's lives in the name of the scum that is Palestine. But then again, global communism and or socialism, whichever fancy word you want to use, is really what Hasan lives for while sitting behind his wrought iron gate in his little streaming studio, surrounded by all his little posters and toys, knowing that he is the definition of champagne socialism, of disgusting cultural elites, and the sad thing is, in his idea, he actually thinks he's a cultural elite, and what's even sadder is that the Twitch people actually think he's a cultural elite, and now also even moronic, in a more moronic way, the people over at Slate now call him dangerous and are trying to desperately prop him up as the left's Joe Rogan. Even though Joe Rogan is a shitlib himself and has always been a shitlib, it's just that because he acknowledged to the face of a CNN waste of life that that network lied about him taking horse dewormer, that does not change the fact that he still platforms hick libs like Ron White on his podcast, or talks about how basically the solution to all the problems is just to get high, that, anger and disgust and all that, from a guy whose name he put behind getting UFC's popularity off the ground, but wants to talk about peace and love and all that. Yeah, like a good old-fashioned lefty right there who does not care about how they despise the Second Amendment, but then they'll gladly go do Marvel movies or other kind of action movies that glorify guns and fast cars that are gas guzzlers while lying to you about environmentalism. But of course, because they, just like Hasan, know nothing about what they speak, they're not educated about what they speak, but they say the line of left-wing politically correct dogma, then them being professionally bitchy about Asmongold just being a better human being than them, let alone a more successful and talented and interesting content creator than them in one way or another, is something that they will never, ever, ever be able to admit to, because champagne socialist and the Bernie Bolshevik with pumpkin spice latte socialists that wish that they came from money, like Hasan did, that will live to defend him, cannot stand to be explained to that they are wrong about everything, that they will never be right about anything in their entire life because they have no brains or talent. They have no ability to think. They have no ability to feel anything except for demanding the blood of their enemies. In case you're wondering why their only problem with Game of Thrones and the characters of Game of Thrones was how dare these slim, attractive women do nude scenes. Them being all a bunch of conniving, blood-hungry, little socio-political machinists of one disgusting power, mad machination after another, that was perfectly fine, but how dare any of them dress sexy, or how dare any of them have any kind of nude scenes in there? Unless they are an anorexic dude in a dress, or are they some repulsively obese woman that makes Lizzo get disgusted. But remember, if a waste of space, a cunt flap, a little sentient shit wagon like Hasan Piker did not have double standards, and his fans were absolutely nothings and nobodies and losers and people who need to feel better about themselves by calling for the blood of the Jews and all that, now you understand why they're all a bunch of contrarian losers who know they do not amount to anything in the world, and that they never will amount to anything in the world, and that there are children who make macaroni pictures in kindergarten classes that aren't getting groomed in those kindergarten classes because they're not in California or New York, that are going to be more creative and more talented and more interesting and more successful than them and they could ever hope to be in their entire life. And that's not my opinion. I know I'm right. So I want to thank you all for watching. Subscribe to the channel, hit 10,000 subs, become a member today, and shop at my art store with the second link below, where you can buy my art or commission me, or you can donate with the second link below. And well, until then, felines, slam it, lick it, suck it, and see you, Space Cowboy.